we are breaking the constitutional rules, but we don't want to use that means now. I think the way forward would be to engage government so that government would live by its international obligations. And since there is a Ministry of Women and Children, and they have already come up with a draft gender affirmative action bill, let's pick it up from there, see how we can get government. If government, at the end of the day, if government is able to go by what the bill says concerning affirmative action, and make sure that we have the legal framework. You see, the bill will be the legal framework on which we can stand. Even if we want to go to court, it gives you stronger bargaining power before the justices of the Supreme Court. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, so let's work and get the legal framework, the law in place, and then we can move from there.
Landowners in Accra's Airport South residential area are demanding government intervention in what's shaping up to be a land dispute with the military. The landowners say they've suffered intimidation and illegal demolition of their property by the military. At a news conference in Accra, their leaders said they have had enough. Latif Idris is there now and joins me on the phone lines for some more on this. Latif, can you tell us more about the intimidation these landowners have allegedly suffered at the hands of the military?
Yeah, Senator Henry, like you rightly said, these landowners at the press conference said that they've had enough of the intimidation. According to one Joseph Ajay, the director of operation for the La Kotopong, trust, he says now they've exhausted all means and they are not getting results. What they want to do now is to send petition to government for government to come in and then support them, because they've had this fight with the military without getting any support whatsoever from government. So now they want to petition government, they want to petition the parliament, and they want to petition the Ministry of Defense as well. Because according to Nia J, now the next step after this petition is also to go to court, because the Supreme Court had already passed a ruling on this case, but it's like the military is flouting all rules available and are doing what they want. So now they want to go back to court for redress and saying.
Okay, so if you say they are doing what they want, and earlier you also mentioned that they were suffering some form of injustice, what specifically do you refer to?
Yeah, some of them have had their walls broken by the military, just coming from one of the tours. And what we saw there was actually one of the walls of a structure that has been broken down. And what Nia J told me was that this is the fourth time that wall has been broken. Anytime they break it, this man goes back there, he builds it again, then they come back and break it. So I asked him whether they've suffered some physical, kind of altercation with the military. That one, he couldn't tell me about that one, but he says they've had their properties being destroyed and demolished anytime they put it up. Okay.
Finally, Latif, what sort of intervention are they looking out for from government?
Yeah, that's what they are trying to do. That's the next step they want to take now. They want to petition government. Now they want to put it on paper. It's like they've been talking in the newspapers, and they are not getting
results. So what really do they want government to do?
Petition government to come in and support their cause.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Latif Idris was reporting for us there. We'll go for a quick commercial break. We'll be right back after this. But you're still watching Joy News today on your Joy News channel on Multi TV. Let's do some more stories now. And the Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa says economic imbalances should be addressed to ensure farmers benefit fairly from their hard work. The board of AGRA, who are currently holding a meeting here in Accra, were led by Agriculture Minister Fifi Kwete to call on President John Mahama at the Flagstaff House.
As you referred to, without the African farmer really coming into its own and really contributing not only to feeding Africa but the world. I've just come from China, and they're importing food from all over the world, and the demand is there. I will add that my daughter lived on a cocoa farm north of Kumasi for a year, but she really came to love and appreciate the farmers of Africa. She saw how hard they worked, how they have to get more for what they do, that they don't get enough economic benefit for the hard work that they put in. And this is something the minister mentioned today, that we really need to get the economic model right. So we're really excited to be back here. Ghana's always inspired, I think, Africa and the world with its leadership.
The area of innovative finance to help our farmers. Because really, AGRA is about the smallholder farmer. The big farmer can look after himself. But we are really about helping the smallholder farmers, the majority of whom, as you know, are women. Our mothers and our sisters are still carrying the burden of feeding Africa. And we want to increase productivity for them, but we also want to see their incomes improve. Because if we lift the smallholder farmer, we lift the entire continent. So we not only are looking to see Ghana's green revolution take off, but as you were first to show the revolution for decolonization, we are expecting you to lead in this field too.
Well, President John Mahama also requested that AGRA actively partners with government to achieve its agricultural targets. He hinted Ghana is working to institutionalize a commodity exchange for cereals.
We're encouraging more youth to go into agriculture. We're modernizing agriculture, ensuring that there's more mechanization. We're doing a fertilizer subsidy program, and with partners like AGRA, I think that we are beginning to change that whole old perception about agriculture, and more people are getting interested in it. For decades, we abandoned the African farmer to his fate. The little subsidies and inputs that government used to give them were all withdrawn because we were undergoing structural adjustment. And I think about it regrettably because that was the area in which we had 70% of our population engaged in. And these were the segments of the poorest segments of our population. And so to have abandoned them for 20 decades or so when we were structurally adjusting, we probably would have been able to reduce poverty much quicker, if we hadn't gone through that unfortunate phase. Happily, everybody knows different now, and even the international financial institutions, IMF and co, are all supportive of us, giving assistance to farmers. We also are working to set up a Ghana commodity exchange for cereals, and so we're starting a warehouse receipting system that will galvanize, the marketing and quality, in respect of cereals especially. And so that's work in progress. We have partners we're working with. We've had several trips to see the Ethiopian model, and I'm sure that that's something that AGRA would be interested to work with us on. Yeah.
Let's stay with the presidency, and President John Mahama has urged the National Commission for Civic Education, the NCCE, to be mindful of its crucial role in the upcoming district level and 2016 general elections. Speaking at the Flagstaff House during the inauguration of 2 new deputy commissioners for the NCCE, the president said government will support the commission to deliver on its mandate. Josephine Kuma and Samuel Asari Ekuamwa are the 2 new commissioners.
It is necessary for the Commission at all times to have a full complement of staff so that it's able to carry out its constitutional mandates and be able to achieve its objectives. It's an onerous responsibility, especially at critical times such as this, where we have a quite deep partisan polarization in our country. And I think that the NCCE has a key role to play in terms of continuing to foster national cohesion and unity, especially in the run-up to the impending district assembly elections that we're holding in 2015, and also considering that next year we have presidential and parliamentary elections. I want to assure you that government will continue to support you to be able to achieve your mandate, and whatever the presidency can do to promote your work, we will do. There have been challenges that we all have identified. The Council of State has flagged the issue of waning sense of nationalism and patriotism And I know that the Commission already, working with the Council of States, has come out with a program in which public awareness and sensitization and education on issues of nationalism, patriotism, and citizens' responsibilities has been drawn up. I want to assure you that government is willing to work with you to find the funding to be able to execute this program.
Thank you.
Now, persons with autism are generally regarded as dumb and useless and will normally be sidelined by society. But research indicates persons with autism are among some of the most gifted when it comes to pattern recognition, logical reasoning, as well as a greater attention to detail. Now, with UN figures suggesting that 80% of adults with autism are unemployed, it means a huge chunk of persons who could have helped advance the cause of mankind are denied the opportunity to do so. So, what are the chances of getting the world, and specifically Ghana, to change the way it sees autistic people? Joy News' Hanodame explores this as Ghana joins the world to mark World Autism Awareness Day today.
People with autism have said that the world to them is a mass of people, places and events which they struggle to make sense of and which can cause them considerable anxiety. To them, the definition given to this invisible disability, a lifelong developmental condition that affects the way they relate to their environment and their interaction with other people, perfectly applies to their way of life. This lifelong developmental disability, which also affects how a person communicates, has no cause. Dr. Ebenezer Beidou is a consultant pediatrician at the Child Health Department at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. He tells me no week passes without a positive diagnosis of a child with autism.
We have an important milestone which we call proto-imperative pointing, which means a child around 1 year starts to point to things of interest. So the child wants milk or juice in front of him, so they point to it because they want it, and the mother gets it. Then around 18 months, another development occurs, which is what we call proto-declarative pointing. And in that, the child points to something of joint interest now. By that, I mean the child points to something of interest to the child, like he's seen a cat go by, but wants mother also to see the cat. So that is an important milestone.
This year, the world is focusing on employment, the autism advantage, as a theme for the day. 32-year-old Norte Queno was born with autism, but he's gone on to learn some motor and sensory skills to help him stay employed. For 3 hours each working day, he folds, binds, and packs magazines at this printing press. His employer, Ama Michael Niyama, says he never saw Norte's disability as an issue.
Norte is very good to work with. He understands what he has to do at the right time, at the right place. That's folding. He stitches, as you can see, using the hand staple machine, and then a lot of the work that.
For people to accept that autism exists, they need to appreciate that persons with autism need to be accorded some dignity. For Dr. Beidou, this can be achieved with the introduction of disability as a course in schools.
There's an interesting development again outside where they teach children in primary schools a lot about disability, and I think it's a very good idea. I mean, God help us all, we all laughed at children when we were young. Maybe somebody has a very big head and it's like you just laugh. But do you know why this boy you're laughing at or girl has a big head? Probably has a problem, a real medical problem. So when we don't understand things, we laugh. If you understand, you are very, very supportive. It's just a change in the curriculum. I mean, we can include in our curriculum throughout the country talking about broad baseline disabilities. You know, we know the common ones already. The research is there. We know the areas: vision, hearing, speech and language, all these things. So the common things that our children are living with in Ghana. Why can't we teach everybody to understand the very basics? There are excellent books, for instance, in autism, written by, let's say, a Canadian speech therapist. I found it very useful understanding the condition myself.
Today, Ghana joins the world to celebrate World Autism Day on the global theme, Employment, the Autism Advantage. To start with, persons with autism can be absorbed into the labor force so they can contribute to national development. Focusing on that can help improve their quality of life. But ultimately, it will be good if autism could be added to the next standard treatment guidelines in the health sector. That's Dr. Bede's ray of hope for possible government support.
If you blow away the myths and the mysteries around some of these conditions, that's the first thing. That employing somebody with this kind of problem is probably even more enlightening. It means you understand, you've gone beyond normal thinking to say that I understand this condition, you can work in this capacity. There are a lot of things that they can do. Like I said, a lot of them are highly focused, or some can be very highly focused. They enjoy repetitive things. So what is wrong giving them something to pack, which people do in a, let's say, a factory, and you need to pack? Why can't you give a quota? In Germany and other places, they do give quotas, and it's working beautifully.
For Joy News.
Hannah Odame with that fantastic report. But she didn't just end there anyway. She's actually following up with the celebrations, and now she's joined me on the phone now. Hannah, good afternoon.
Hello.
Hannah, we understand some celebrities joined the march today. What's their motivation?
Yes, we have 3 celebrities join the march today, and I start with Becca, who was in her blue T-shirt, and it's according to her, autism does not have the necessary awareness in Ghana as it should, and so people usually discriminate on persons with autism. And so her motivation for joining the march is to raise further awareness, apart from what we at multimedia is also doing. And so she intends to also go to the center. There are various autism centers in the country now, to at least offer a helping hand. Finally, she'll also ask other artists to help her raise funds to equip and enhance how these facilities operate for persons living with autism. We also had Christy. We all know him formally to be Dead Body. He was in the UK for some time, and he's back in Ghana. And he has a 40-year-old brother who is with autism. And he also joined the march because of the same reason, to raise awareness. But then also, he's also collaborating with one final musician who joined us. He is Carter. He's a hip-hop artist. And he composed the autism campaign song. And all of this, Chenchengmi, is to help raise awareness, also to demystify the facts that people have and the myths that people have that autism may be spiritual or hereditary, so that we all get to know that that is not it. There's no scientific proof for the cause or treatment. It's an invisible disease, invisible diagnosis, but you can still live with such persons because they do not die.
That's great to hear. But have you spotted any official from the gender ministry?
No, not for now. We did not spot anybody, and I'm yet to pick any leads as to reasons why we did not see them.
Okay. Thank you so much, Hannah, for that update. We can now do some business news right after this. Okay, so time now for sports. And who else? Baba Tando. I hate standing next to this lady. I don't know. Height deficiency anyway.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
You're too tall.
Well, you have to blame the man up there.
Yeah.
Next time, come taller.
Or maybe it's artificial height anyway.
No, artificial height. How many inches? Just like 4 inches or so.
So what do you have in sports today?
Well, we're talking about Heart to Folk this afternoon. And I'm told you are a staunch supporter of Kumasi.
Yeah, I was. Let me say I was.
You were? Why? Why did you?
But do people still follow the local league?
Yes, people do.
I don't.
Okay, specifically or especially because Kotoko and Heart to Folk are both playing in the CAF Champions League and Confederations Cup. Okay. So you need to throw your weight behind the team. They say it's Operation Paint Kumasi Red. So you need to be in Kumasi this weekend to support them.
We'll try our best.
All right, and so reports reaching Joy Sports indicate management of Heart to Folk is planning on engaging the services of former Asante Kotoko coach Masoud Didi Dramani and Tony Loco as head and assistant coaches respectively, while current coach Herbert Ado moves to the position of technical director. Now, the former CAF Champions League and Confederations Cup winners will be traveling to Senegal later today ahead of their CAF Confederations Cup second leg tie with Olympique Dingor. Coach Herbert Addo is, however, expected to take up his new role at the club on the team's return from Senegal. Public Relations Officer of the club, Muhib Said, joins me now via telephone. Hello, Muhib. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Muhib, is Masoud Didi Dramani coming to Hearts of Oak?
Well, that is news to me. As far as I know, there hasn't been any contact.
There hasn't been any contact? Not yes, that you know of, or, I mean, generally there hasn't been any contact?
There hasn't been any contact.
Okay. I know there's been some pressure from the fans to let Herbert Addo go. I mean, how are you as a club dealing with this pressure?
Well, I think that it is the lack of technical consistency that has been the bane of Accra Hearts of Oak over the years, and I think that it's important for us to have some kind of patience and get the technical team in place that can provide the long-term aspirations, that can meet the long-term aspirations of the team. So,
okay.
Yeah, I think that these frequent changes in technical direction are not helping us.
So as it stands, you're saying then that Herbert Addo is staying on as coach of Accra Hearts of Oak?
In fact, we have been very impressed with his professional approach, his hard work and his passion. At the same time, we are baffled at the disconnect between his great efforts and the results that we've got. But we are working very hard together to ensure a turnaround in our fortune.
Working very hard together with Herbert Addo as head coach?
Yeah.
Okay, so when are you leaving for Senegal for your second leg tie against Olympique Dingor?
We are leaving Accra this evening, and we are expected to be in Dakar around midnight.
Okay. All right, so Muhib, we wish you all the best as you go to Senegal to play against Olympique Dingor in the second leg tie of the preliminary stage of the CAF Confederations Cup. Let's move away from Ghana and in the English Premier League, let's look now, let's look at how players have been coping with the long season. It's a wrap on sports on News Today. Coming up next is international news. My name is Baba Tanda. Have a good afternoon.
Okay, so welcome back, but that'll be it for the bulletin for now. Do stay tuned for a lot more news in our subsequent broadcast. My name is Kobna Shenchahine Boateng. In the meantime, if you do want some more news, do also visit myjournline.com. Thank you for your time.